till the day I die. Hey, swing those hips around. Can't stop, roll back down. My ladies, short, tall, thin or wide, always down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, been holding up half the sky.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
Welcome in, everybody. It is time once again for another edition of the Ignition Zone pre-race show here presented by the Collegiate iRacing League. Should be a fun night of action in store for us. Not too often we get to see a track and car pairing that don't exist in real life, but that's what we've got here tonight, and I think it's going to be a ton of fun. Excited to have y'all along for the ride with us, along with producer Christian in the booth and everyone's favorite CIL analyst Brad Daniels. I'm Alex Gagnon, welcoming you in to round 3 of the regular season here at Chicagoland. But before we do too much talking about Chicagoland, let's talk to Brad here for a second. Brad, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good, Alex. It's been a heck of a day, so I'm happy we're ending it here in Chicagoland. Like you said, a unique track, a lot of challenges, but we saw it last season. It's the first race from the first track from last season that we're going to see here in season 12. So I'm expecting a lot of great racing that we saw last season.
Yeah, we got quite the show, and there is one driver in the field specifically that's going to want redemption for the way last year's race at Chicagoland went. We'll get into that a little bit here in a minute. But, first off, hey, there we are. Hi, Brad. How are you?
Hey.
Now that we've got our camera difficulties sorted out here on our end, we can see what's going on. And in seeing what's going on, we can also see what's been going on with this schedule to this point in the 12th season now of the Garage Shop College Cup Series. It's been going on for quite a few years if you're just tuning in for the first time tonight. But this is the Spring 2025 slate. Race 3 on deck here tonight for the regular season from Chicagoland. And this is we're into the meat of this nice little opening stretch of really driver-friendly tracks. Charlotte, New Hampshire, Chicagoland, and Homestead, Brad. All tracks that are very much driver tracks. And then we get to, dare I say, 4 weeks of what could be some of the most tumultuous racing we've ever seen over a month period here in the CIL.
Yeah, it's really, the schedule is just so I hate to say unique over and over, but the entire schedule has everything from road courses at the Chicago Street Course to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which we always see people kissing the bricks in real life, and we've seen it in seasons past. And then this little stretch here, we got Homestead, Miami, Daytona, New Atlanta, so we're keeping it in the southeast after Chicagoland tonight. But I mean, Chicagoland is the first mile-and-a-half track of this 10 race schedule until we get to Bristol. So it's really going to be a lot of longer courses for the CIL season.
Yeah, I mean, this is it is one heck of a slate, and I think the whiplash of doing Iowa, Kentucky, the Chicago Street Course, and then Bristol toward the end of the season is going to be something. We got nice pocketed chunks of a bunch of driver heavy tracks, a bunch of wild card type tracks, and then the end of the season is just, we're going to throw every type of thing we can throw at you, and you're just going to have to figure it out. So I think that is a lot of fun, but we'll get into that. And while we're here, we also can talk a little bit about New Hampshire last week. Daniel Nanny picking up his first win of the season. Ball State in the win column with his win last week. It was a dominating effort from the Cardinals, Brad. Muhammad Alif led the opening third of the race or so, and then Nanny took off, never looked back. And now with his sixth Garage Shop College Cup Series win, he moves into the top 5 all-time in CIL victories. And I feel like he's gotten there in a really short period of time. He is really on the move here.
Yeah, and especially over these past 2 seasons, we've seen him just be one of the front runners at every race, no matter the circumstance. I mean, him and Alif are 2 Ball State teammates that are just, pretty much showing that Ball State is gonna be probably the front runner outside of Oklahoma. We have Clemson and some others that team-wise are all very stacked. But I think looking at tonight, Daniel Nanny also had a great Chicagoland last year, but so did others like Drew Williams and Jake Cummings, last season's winner. So I think a lot of schools are going to mingle in that top, those podium spots tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned Drew Williams, and this is the one that got away from him last season. Led 115 out of 133 laps, was cruising the whole day until with 5 laps to go, burnt out his stuff. Jake Cummings sneaks by in the closing moments and waltzes off to a victory despite, trailing that Clemson machine all day. He's going to want to try and get that win back here today. He won this race back in Season 8, I believe. He was in it the whole way. And then last year was so close until it didn't come to fruition. You got to imagine he is going to be going out here with some fire tonight. But with that, let's bring in our little pre-race interview today a new face that we get to talk to, and it's a face representing a really big commitment to the CIL over the next string of races. It is Wesley Shaw from Texas A&M Texarkana. Let's bring him in. Hey there, Wesley. This is Alex and Brad up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Doing all right. Well, hey, welcome to the Ignition Zone pre-race show, and to my understanding, sounds like tonight is the first of several races that Texas A&M Texarkana are sponsoring here in the CIL, and it sounds like you might know a little bit more about that than we do.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing 5 races, so it's a great part to be a part here of the CIL. It's great to race here, and it's even bigger of an opportunity for us to, sponsor races and be an even bigger part of that. We're doing 5 races. I believe we're doing Chicago, we're doing next week, and then a couple other races as well. And then we're also doing some races for the Formula College, I believe, correct? Sweet.
Very cool, very cool. I tell you what, appreciate the commitment that y'all are putting into the league. That's a pretty cool thing. And I guess I got to ask, as being a relatively new addition to the CIL, what is it like being or kind of getting into this this league, into this world? Because I believe last season was your first season with us.
Yes, it was my first season. So this is my first spring season. It's really surreal. I mean, I was doing sim racing, and I was a part of the high school league of TexF. TexF, we're a huge high school league, and I did that all the way throughout my senior year. And coming into college, I really, really, really wanted to be a part of some sim racing league, whether that was Playfly, CIL, or something other. And when we reached out and we found out about CIL, I was super ecstatic, finally thinking, okay, sweet, we're going to dig our heels in, really, place our name and get a hold. And I mean, first race in, oh my God, last semester, I didn't know it was going to be like as chaotic as it was, but it's so fun every week to sit down and race with y'all and be able to like go back and rewatch y'all's broadcast and then watch back the race and see what happens. But it was amazing. First race in, now we're second season now, my first spring season, and it's just amazing every race to sit down and race with y'all.
And looking back at last season, this is the first race of season 12. We're coming to a track that was featured in season 11. Using what knowledge you have of Chicagoland last season, how have you built upon that? And you don't have to give away any strategies, but are you confident going into this race, or how are you feeling?
I would say I'm confident. Being it my second time here at Chicago with the CIL, this is my second season ever racing in these next gen cars. I'm super used to the last gen and the Xfinity series, where they're a lot tougher handling. It's an H pattern 4-speed, so getting used to these 5-speed sequential cars that are really, really nimble. They feel almost like they're on skates compared to the Xfinity cars. Here at Chicago, it's almost like a bigger version of Texas. I've raced at Texas Motor Speedway in real life a few times. I've been there. I've got people that work there. But it's really, what's the word? It's really complex on thinking of how to navigate the track super well. Being able to move so high and so low across the track in the different corners, being that turn 1 and 2 are a lot tighter than 3 and 4, but comparing it all together, it just flows super well. And I'd say my strategy really is the same as every race, which is to last. I'm not going to send it through every corner like it's the last lap, like some drivers do, and regrettably, that's cost me a lot of time and a lot of points last season. But my strategy is going to be the same way throughout all season, of just lasting through the race, making good choices on pit strategies, making good choices out on track between the other drivers, having a good cool head, and just sitting through and getting lap after lap.
Well, I tell you what, making sure you're there at the end is always a good way to go when it comes to these kind of races, but especially I feel like in the CIL. I know, Brad and I, back when we were active drivers in the series, that was always our game plan going in. It's like, well, if we can be there at the end, we are going to gain a ton of points. But it's always easier said than done. Wesley, I want to thank you for coming on the pre-race show with us here a little bit. Anyone you'd like to shout out here tonight before we let you loose here for qualifying?
First, I want to say thank you for having me, and thanks for letting me come up on here and talk with y'all. It's always a pleasure to hear y'all during the broadcast whenever I'm watching afterwards or whether I'm sitting down and racing. I want to say I'd have to give a shout out to my grandpa and my mom for really putting me in this position to sit here and race and be here with y'all. I'd have to give a shout out to my girlfriend because she likes to annoy the crap and tell me I need to sit down and race better and cleaner. And last but not least, I need to absolutely shout out Mr. Rick Allen, who's my coach here. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be racing here with Texas A&M, Texarkana, and I would not be here, frankly. And last but not least, after Rick, I want to shout out y'all because y'all are doing amazing every week and putting that grind in every week for this broadcast and stream.
I appreciate it. I'm sure we all do. Wesley, thank you for that, and best of luck tonight. Excited to see what you've got cooking here at Chicagoland, and maybe if cards fall the right way, we'll be talking to you again at the end of the race tonight.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Y'all have a good race.
You as well. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, and that is Wesley Shaw, driver of the number 73 Texas A&M Texarkana Eagles machine. Brad, I tell you what, it's always nice when we get to talk to someone that we haven't had the chance to talk to before. And after talking with Wesley, I would be all the more ecstatic to see him find his way onto the podium here tonight when it's all said and done.
Absolutely. I mean, we already talked about some of these guys that have been kind of dominant at Chicagoland, but I think, with a little strategy and, a lot of skill, a lot of people can try and make their way up to the podium here tonight. And I think Wesley made a great point in saying that chaos can always happen in the CIL.
Yeah, he's certainly right about that. And he had some good speed here last year. He qualified in the top 20 when we came to Chicagoland last time around. I think got caught up in an earlier incident, so didn't get the result that his qualifying efforts suggested. But I have a feeling that things will be all good tonight. We're going to manifest some good vibes for him, but also for the entire field. I mean, the last thing you want is to be a part of an absolute mess. But, when it comes to the CIL, who's really to say what's going to unfold before it happens? So we will get to that in just a minute. Cars are just about to head on track for qualifying. So what we're going to do is take a quick step away, get a couple of commercials in, and when we come back, it will be time to start tonight's event. You are not going to want to miss it. This is going to be a fun one. It is the Eagles Flight at Chicagoland 200 presented by Texas A&M University Texarkana Esports. And I think we're going to be in for a real treat. You won't want to miss it. So we will be right back with the coverage of tonight's event.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
For some drivers, race 3 of the year poses an opportunity to continue the hot start that they've had through the opening couple weeks. While for others, this really becomes a turning point in the road where if they want to get their season back on track after a couple of bad starts, this might be the window to do it. Because no one wants to afford having a bad run here tonight, regardless of the situation. And for some drivers in the field, this could be an opportunity at redemption of years past and missed opportunities. Welcome in everybody to the virtual Chicagoland Speedway for the Eagles Flight at Chicagoland 200, presented by Texas A&M Texarkana Esports. Live here on the Collegiate iRacing League, the Garage Shop College Cup Series. Along with co-commentator and former CIL driver Brad Daniels and producer Christian Hill in the background, I'm Alex Gagnon, welcoming you into tonight's coverage of the third round of the 2025 College Cup Series season here from Chicagoland. And Brad, we got an opportunity to talk a little bit in the pre-show about Ball State's dominance last week at New Hampshire. I'm looking at the practice table from how they've been running so far. 2 Cardinals in the top 5. They're going to be another tough one to beat here again tonight, but so is last year's winner, Jake Cummings, also top 5 in practice times. What are you expecting to see out there tonight?
Well, looking at last year's tape and just looking at overall speed so far in practice, I think Ball State definitely is going to be a contender here tonight. Jake Cummings, last year's winner here at Chicagoland, I think is also a good bet, but I think a lot of people will be shuffled around here through the field. I think there's going to be a lot of restart shuffling, a lot of like these 2 wide battles that cause a lot of stack ups to happen as well. I think this course is not your typical oval. It's your tri-oval that it seems like everywhere there's a curve. There's no actual back or front stretch that you can just let the wheel go straight. You have to always somewhat be aware. And there's banking everywhere on this track, so it's like just a unique track, and I think a lot of people are just going to have to get used to a lot of this, newness, I should say.
Yeah, it's a little. This isn't the right word for it, but it's a little Thunderdome-like. You're constantly turning, you're maintaining high speeds, and you're never quite settled at any given point in time. It does throw some folks off. Some drivers really, really excel at it. Others really struggle at it without that straight line sort of, so I can flatten out for a second and breathe. It'll be interesting to see how the drivers attack that tonight and who we see rise to the front in the early going, and then who really struggles to get it kind of tuned up in the opening couple laps here. But while we have a second, I want to thank the folks who make this series possible each and every week. Shout out, of course, the Garage Shop. They are this year's season-long sponsor of the Garage Shop College Cup Series. Could not do this series without them. Race Fabrication Company, building some of the most unique cars, trucks, and off-road vehicles around. Their motto of honoring the racers who came before us and putting our competitors behind us rings true amongst all CIL drivers. You can check out the Garage Shop at thegarageshop200.com. Also want to thank ECAC Esports, adding great value to its member schools by enhancing the competitive experience for hundreds of students seeking to participate in intercollegiate esports. The McConey Setup Shop, the homes for setups, paint schemes, coaching, and more, the official setup shop of eNASCAR and the Garage Shop College Cup Series. You can visit the McConeySetupShop.com today to subscribe. And, of course, Whiplash SimCams, an iRacing and esports media group specializing in iRacing and team graphics, camera packs, and other broadcasting resources. And, of course, tonight's race sponsor, Texas A&M Texarkana Esports. At TAMUT, we're not just building a competitive esports program, we're creating real opportunities for student athletes. Through university athletics, all TAMUT Esports athletes receive in-state tuition, whether they're from out-of-state or even international, plus all transfer students who meet the eligibility requirements, including a minimum 3.5 GPA, can qualify for our $6,000 Transfer Presidential Scholarship, making higher education more affordable while competing at the highest level of esports. You can reach out to Michael Galvin at mgalvin@tamut.edu to inquire today. And a big thank you to Texas A&M Texarkana not only for the support of this race, but the support of the CIL throughout the season, the first of 5 races they will be sponsoring throughout the year. So Brad, you were talking a little bit about it just a moment ago before we wanted to thank all the lovely folks who make this series possible, but this track is incredibly unique. You were kind of talking a little bit about it a second ago, but let's bring up the map graphic here, and we can really dive into what makes this place so unique.
Yeah, and as you can see, it's somewhat of a D shape, but that backstretch not straight at all. Pretty much through in this entire track, you're going to have a little bit of banking anywhere from 5 to 18 degrees. Here in Joliet, Illinois, a little bit over 1.5 miles, and we saw it in Season 8. But this track overall, opening up in 2001, we've seen a lot of real life, we haven't seen this next-gen car at this track, but a lot of action happening in real life and memorable moments.
Yeah, there's some iconic moments that have come from this track in the closing years that it was a active track on the schedule. Of course, a lot of thoughts drift back to that incredible Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch finish from the late 2010s that got so much fanfare at the time. Despite how bad that aero package was, we are not going to address that. That's a whole different issue. But that was an incredibly iconic finish. And now, if we've got a second, Producer Christian, do we have a qualifying lap to view tonight? Let's take a look here at what a qualifying lap looks like here at Chicagoland Speedway. This is one of the more fun ones you'll get on an oval track because they're constantly turning, and we're on board with our pre-race interview, Wesley Shaw.
And as we said before, last year Wesley had that drive going into qualifying, and as you see here in the 73 car, he's taking that mid to lower line and ending up at that wall. And really, like, this line, typical to see at these 1.5 mile tracks. But Alex, what else do you think is going to happen tonight along with, just running this line?
Yeah, I mean, this is a track that you do see some multiple grooves being able to run. And you also see a lot of opportunities to potentially pass even on the front stretch because there is a significant amount of banking here on the front straightaway. 11 degrees of banking on the racetrack, but the apron is also a viable option to try and cut down this track a little bit if you get a run on somebody. So I think we'll see a lot of bouncing around, not only through the corners, but also down that front straightaway. And I guarantee you there's going to be at least one car to drive directly into the turn 3 wall, as that wall caves in on them a little bit from that bent backstretch, and someone's just not going to see it in time, especially if they're in a 2 or 3 wide situation.
Right. And honestly, this track kind of reminds me of a 1.5 Mile Auto Club, honestly, with that, especially the front stretch, just the feeling of driving here at Chicagoland. I feel like I get a little anxious at tracks like these where the front stretch are a little more than just your typical, just go straight, or just like Charlotte where it's a little bit of uneasiness. But I think here at Chicagoland Auto Club, these tracks, like, it's going to pose a lot of great racing.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Well, with that qualifying lap shown, let's take a look at how they fared tonight in qualifying and ditch you tonight's starting grid. For this one, this should be a good one tonight. The Eagles flight at Chicagoland 200. Their pole sitter, Jake Cummings from Converse University. He stole the win in the closing laps last year. He'll be on pole tonight with a 30.515. Last week's winner, Daniel Nanny from Ball State, rolls off to his outside on the front row. Row 2, it'll be the podium finisher from last week, Zach DeWale from St. Clair College, and Week 1 winner from Charlotte, Garrett Vighton from Arizona State, rolling off in Row 2. Lucas Booty from Ball State rolling off in 3rd. His teammate Muhammad Alif rolling off in 4th. A pair of Cardinals in Row 3 and 3 in the top 6. Row 4, it'll be Dylan Godinez for the Penn College of Technology. A great qualifying effort for the 808. Jared Kaler, the former champ from UNC Charlotte, rolls off 8th. And in Row 5, it'll be Logan Smith from Auburn University and his teammate Reese Bayham in the number 3 machine rolling off alongside.
In Row 6, we have the 100 Drew Williams from Clemson. He has a little bit of a battle to get his way to the front, along with Brandon Schollenberger from Wingate. Starting in Row 7, Kelton Quick from Ball State, and to his outside, Andrew Burrell from Clemson. Clint Halteman starts in 15th from UNC Charlotte, and to his outside, Ricky Paz from East Carolina University. In Row 9, we have the 124 of Nicholas Stockner from Clemson University. To his outside, Keegan Kallick from St. Clair College. And rounding out your top 20, it's Michael James from Drexel University, and to his outside, Benjamin Neller from Ball State.
Getting back to row 11 here, it is Jake Hall from Clemson University rolling off 21st. Nick Henley from Ball State rolls off 22nd in the 64. And 23rd tonight, it is Connor Zabogian of Kettering University. Austin DeLong in the 222 rolls off 24th. Rolling off 25th tonight, Ethan Decatur from Valparaiso. Nathaniel Crone from Toledo, 26th. Behind them, it was our pre-race interview. Wesley Shaw from Texas A&M Texarkana in 27th. Cade Corbin from Alabama Huntsville rolls off 28th. And in row 15, it'll be Jason Wallet from Drexel University and Jack Wilson from the University of North Georgia.
Starting in row 16, we have Roger Primo from Paul Smith College, and to his outside, Athena Leclerc from St. Clair. In 33rd, Zachary Tallman from Penn College of Technology, and to his outside, Brock Morris from Kettering. In 35th, we have Dwayne Young from Kettering, and to his outside, Edward Sanchez from Baruch. In 37th, Lee Kane from the University of Southern Mississippi, and to his outside, it's Grant Schiller from St. Clair College. And rounding out your grid tonight, it's Carter Copini from Paul Smith College, and to his outside, Andrew McManus from the University of Toledo. All 40 cars that put down a lap made it into the race tonight.
Yeah, only one car did not qualify for the show tonight. That was North Carolina State's Matthew Nordberg. Did not elect to run a lap tonight and therefore did not enter tonight's main event. Also, would like to put out one little correction that I did not realize until a moment ago. If you are interested in reaching out about Texas A&M Texarkana Esports, you'll want to reach out to Rick Allen at ramut.tamut.edu. That is the person you'll want to reach out to. I had the wrong name of email in my little pre-race lead, so apologies to Texas A&M Texarkana for that. So Rick Allen is the one you'll want to reach out to for that. That is rallen at tamut.edu. Alrighty. Well, A little bit of race analysis just before we get going, Brad. It's coming up on the screen right here. 133 laps, 200 miles tonight. Pit lane speed 45 miles an hour. 5 sets of tires available over the wall. Estimated fuel window just south of halfway. They'll need to stop at least twice to make it to the end of tonight's race.
And it's going to be a hot one here. 97 degrees on track, along with just a little bit of overcast, a little windy. So I think these tires are going to burn up a little more than they'd probably like to, and especially this time of year. It's definitely not 97 degrees here in Chicago.
It is certainly not. It is going to be a toasty one on track. Decently high air temp as well. A lot of success this season in that front group. Winners from last year, winners from this season. We're going to see how it's shaken out in just a moment. The pace car peels away. Green flag in the air for the first time, and we are racing at Chicagoland. A massive wreck through turn 1. We had not even got to the back straightaway, and there was cars piled up down on the apron. Looks like Athena Leclerc amongst them.
Oh man, it's already getting going here at Chicagoland. I mean, like you said, didn't even make it through turn 2, but I mean, like I said, I mean, these restarts were kind of chaotic the last time we were here, and I think, as you can see from Athena's car, she's going to have to get a little bit of repair to that nose, and I think a couple other cars here.
Yeah, we'll pull up that replay here momentarily, but there was quite a few cars who looked like they got caught up in that one. Oh, looks like there might be some more terminal damage there for Lee Kane. That was a plume of smoke that just came out of the Southern Mississippi car. Yeah, we'll see if we can pull up that replay real quick.
I mean, I think both of these cars here, that you're seeing on screen, started back behind the top 30, so that's the hard part of starting, you know, obviously further back in the field, getting a lot more calamity as we're looking back at the restart here. I mean, obviously there wasn't too much to set up. Everyone was starting off fresh with clear minds.
You know what they say about clear minds? Full hearts can't lose, and yet looks like several of them may have had some issues here in the opening lap. I believe it was just in front of this group here. Oh, you see, Cade Corbin, and the 08 of Cade Corbin went for a wild ride there through 1 and 2. That looks to be where that begins.
And that's terminal for the 08.
Let's take one more look at that on board here with Cade Corbin. You see, he was the guy who rolling off 28th there in that black, blue, and yellow UAH machine.
Ooh.
And looks like he got a bit of contact with Crone, came down in the Wesley Shaw, launched up the track, collected Athena Leclerc, Dwayne Young, Brock Morris, and a host of others.
And I mean, for most of you that don't, you know, participate in iRacing, these cars have cold tires at the start of these races, so a lot of these guys might have tried and be pushing these tires like they're, you know, a little molded to the track, a little built in. But right now, these cars are going to be a little loose going in and out of these corners because this, you know, cold tires will take technically like about 2 or 3 laps to warm up.
Yeah, and that looks to be a situation of just there was a disagreement on where that, where you get off the throttle in the corner there between Crone and Cade Corbin. Led to that situation, caught up a bunch of other cars, including Athena Leclerc, who was in top 5 in points coming into tonight's race after 2 quality starts to start the year. You're going to have an uphill battle to get back to the front, but if anyone can do it, I have no doubt that Athena is one of them. She had to go through several trials to get that podium finish at Charlotte 2 weeks ago. With the field stacked back up here, ready to give this another go. No changes through the top 7 cars. First change there was Logan Smith ahead of Jared Kaler from 8th and 9th, but pace car is going to peel off. Flagman ready to rock and roll, and we're going to give it another go here in Joliet.
Jake Cummings is going to get that huge jump coming out of the gate. He's going to get about 2 car lengths going into turn 1 and 2, and now it's going to leave Garrett Vitton and Zachary DeWale going for 3rd place going into 1 and 2.
Looks like everybody makes it through 1 and 2 cleanly that time around. Everyone trying to navigate 2x2 down the back straightaway. Front 2 cars have single file, but Zach DeWale and Garrett Vighton door to door for 3rd place here as they round their way off of 4. Looks like the Sun Devil might get the edge coming to the line.
And Vighton has that outside power, using the momentum of the outside line, and is going to make his way into 3rd. And now Muhammad Alif is going to try and take Zachary DeWale's 4th place, as he sees he's going to try and take 3rd as he gets a little loose. Vighton down to the apron, but is able to save it, coming back up and staying alongside DeWale.
Boy, I have a feeling that is going to be a battle we see a lot tonight. Garrett Vighton and Zach DeWale already knocking each other out of the way here in the opening 6 laps of the race. Going to imagine that that's going to continue as this race goes on. Ball State now finds themselves in 2nd and 3rd, trying to track down Jake Cummings, who won at this track last year in dramatic fashion, but he has 2 cars behind him that led every single lap last week at New Hampshire between the 2 of them. So a lot of talent running in this top group right now. And then you've got Zach DeWale and Lucas Moody just behind him, a couple of quick cars as well. And Brad, I'd say not to look now, but Drew Williams, who led 115 laps here last year, already up from 11th to 6th in the opening 7 laps.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely on our radar. We talked pre-race. He is someone to look out for, and he's already making that known as he's in the top 6 and now looking for Lucas Moody, as we have 3 Ball State cars in the top 5, all chasing Jake Cummings. And if I'm Jake Cummings right now, you know, I'm a little scared because I'm seeing a lot of Ball State. And then, you know, Zachary DeWale is also there. Just all of these cars up front in this top 7 really are all just going to be on your back bumper this whole time.
Yeah, but, you know, it's early. Everyone trying to settle in, find their marks. You see this top 10 group has all kind of single filed out at this point. And there's some little 2x2 action just behind him, though. Looks like Dylan Godina is trying to fend off a charge from Reese Bayham. That's a nice little battle going on there for the 8th and 9th position between the 808, the 3, and the 2. You see there? Yeah, look at that mess. This is the midfield that you don't want to be. Yeah, Jake Cummings might be aware of all those cars trying to chase him down right now, but at least they're not in this mess where it's 2 and 3 wide diving into turn 1.
And I think one big loser right now of all this mid-pack mania is Jared Kaler's fallen down to 13th. You can see him on the inside line behind Kelton Quick. But, you know, it's 2x2, it looks like, for the majority of the mid-pack here, as it looks like Auburn is right now sitting pretty as they're 3 wide. Ricky Paz and the Reese Bayham, Jared Kaler all coming out of 4. Bayham's able to keep that outside line going.
You see there, as we are looking at this battle between Kelton Quick and Logan Smith, that behind them, everyone swapping positions right now. And to your point, Jared Kaler really falling back here early on in this race, jumps up in front of Reese Bayham to try and stop the bleeding for now. I'm not sure if he's just trying to save his tires for a long run or if there is just something off with the pace of that 58 right now, because he has lost about 4 or 5 spots from where he started this race. Meanwhile, Kelton Quick, Logan Smith still going at it. Quick's going to take the 9th spot for now, and now here comes Ricky Paz going to run that high side. ECU trying to take that spot away from the Auburn Tiger.
And Ricky Paz right now starting outside the top 15, knocking on the door of a top 10. And I mean, really, Alex, it seems like a lot of this stuff is single filed out now. As you can see, this top 7 hasn't really done much. And as I say that, Drew Williams looks to the inside of Daniel Nanny, is able to keep the nose to the corner panel. And now it's going to be a battle for, well, now 2nd and 4th as Zach DeWale and Muhammad Alif are battling it out.
This is the thing you'd love to see if you're leader Jake Cummings, which is every car in the hunt behind you going 2x2, going to battle with each other and not you. But it looks like Zach DeWale is going to be clear of this for now. Lucas Moody and Drew Williams side by side for 5th. Leaf and Nanny going to go side by side for third. Add Garrett Vighton to the mix as well. We've got ourselves a 7-car breakaway pack here up front, and they are not giving an inch from 2nd through 7th. Jake Cummings holding on by about 2 car lengths right now over the St. Clair car of Zach DeWale, but that gap is coming down just a little bit as you see a real slugfest happening here between Drew Williams and Lucas Moody. It's a great battle for the 5th spot. There's a lot of action to keep an eye on here in the early going, Brad.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, I think we're all seeing Drew Williams is antsy to get up through everyone he can, but right now he has a 3-car tango of Ball State to get through after Zach DeWale's move, and now Zach DeWale is up on the back bumper of Jake Cummings, and there's a lot more action here as you see now. Drew is also trying to pass every Ball State car, it looks like, at the same time right now, passing Lucas Moody, but also he's using that draft to get right back upside of Drew and get him into turn 3.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Oh, you see Vighton gets a little bit of the back bumper of Williams there. He got a little loose coming through the middle of the corner, but helped give him a little bit of a push as they were trying to track it down. And all this side-by-side battling is letting that mid-pack circle reel him back in. You see Dylan Godinez creeping into the picture there back in 8th. Some good battling in this group. There are 4 cars from Ball State in the top 9 right now. They currently run 3rd, 4th, make it 5th and 8th. As you see, somebody just plummeted out of the running order. I'm not sure who that was. Might have just been a timing table issue. I think it was Garrett Vighton who suddenly disappeared from the timing table for a minute. I thought somebody ended up in the catch fence.
Well, luckily for Garrett, he's still on the bottom line looking for 6th from Lucas Moody. Moody has been using this outside line for pretty much the entire race, has been trying to fend off everyone he can, but right now I think the only person that's really got past him is Drew, who is now in the 4th after passing a Leaf and making his eyes set on that podium from Daniel Nanny.
Yeah, you see Vighton on the onboard there in the bottom right of your screen. He looks incredibly casual, incredibly relaxed here in the early going. Not trying to force anything, just taking what's coming to him. And he has been able to stay in this mix here without forcing the issue. Zach DeWale has a run on Jake Cummings up at the front of the field. Got all the way to his back bumper for the lead. That 519 is knocking on the door of taking away the race lead from Jake Cummings.
And right now, I mean, yeah, DeWale is seeming to be pretty fast compared to Jake Cummings. Cummings obviously is going to not be able to use any type of draft, but he has that fresh air in front of him. He's not going to be able to, you know, really, he doesn't have much to complain about, but Zach DeWale is making a little bit of trouble here for Cummings as he's on his back bumper coming out of 2. And right now, I mean, Cummings is able to keep that buffer of about 1/10 of a second back to DeWale, about a half car length. So you see everything's kind of starting to shuffle out here in the top 7. No real big battles happening. And as I say that, DeWale, I thought it was looking to the outside, but doesn't appear so.
Yeah, he almost got a run off the corner. The 95 closed that off at the last moment. You see, though, he's right back to the outside. He's trying to get a nose to that right rear of the Converse car. Just wasn't able to do it that time off of turn 2. I have a feeling, though, he's close enough down the front straightaway. If he gets a good run through the center of the corner here, he might be able to get to the outside coming off of turn 2.
And right now, I think DeWale's doing exactly that. As you can see, he's wheeling the heck out of that car. He's going to get a little loose coming out of 2, trying to get as much momentum as he can right now, but Jake Cummings is able to really just block off any attempt he has, as you know, DeWale hasn't had too much of a run, and that's allowed Daniel Nanny also to just stay within striking distance in case they get side by side.
As you see, they're coming up on lap traffic. That is the 22 machine of Andrew McManus. They're going to go on by the first 3, make it 4 cars. As we've been watching this battle with DeWale and Cummings unfold, Daniel Nanny gets right into the mix as well. Drew Williams laying in wait just behind him. There's more cars funneling past the 22 here on the inside. Already on our way here to lap 23 of this race here at Chicagoland. And Jake Cummings has led every one of it, but it has not been without having to fend off a couple of challengers. You see, that is a pretty small gap through the top 4 right now, and the top 7 still trying to hang into this little mix as Kelton Quick has gotten around Dylan Godinez for 9th. So that is now 4 Ball State cars inside the top 8. And you could also make it 6 in the top 16, but who's counting?
Exactly. But right now, it looks like one of those 6 Ball State cars, Daniel Nanny, is looking to the inside of Zachary DeWale going into 1. Drew Williams is also setting up a little bit of a plot here. But right now, it's between the 30 from Ball State and to his outside, St. Clair, battling it out of turn 2. The 519 is going to be able to use that momentum and open the door for Drew to try and take 3rd place away from Danny.
A big move there from Zach DeWale to roll on the outside, take 2nd place back, and almost a late block there from Nanny, but Williams stuck the nose in. They're going to be door-to-door as they go into turn 1. Nanny tried cutting off the Clemson car and just got there a little bit too late. The 519 looks like he didn't center through the corner all that well. Here comes Nanny on the outside now, trying to take away P2.
And he's going to use every inch that he can of that track to try and maximize his angle. As you see Zachary DeWale almost slide up into Nanny, and he's able to keep off of him. That's going to give Nanny the 2nd position and the momentum to try and track down Jake Cummings.
Yeah, you saw it looked like Nanny was coming down to try and pinch off the 519's exit. And I think Zach DeWale realized as that was happening that he wanted to try and make that a tough situation for the 30. So they both went toward each other off corner exit. That almost got real dicey. But ultimately, DeWale's the big loser in that exchange. He's fallen all the way back to 5th as here comes a Leaf roaring through the field now. Takes away 4th, looking for 3rd from Drew Williams.
And we've seen a Leaf, he's tried to keep his tires fresh. We've seen it before, and I think he might be doing that now. We didn't really see him get too really crazy with it in these battles. And right now, he might be trying to, use that advantage to pass Drew Williams. Williams has that outside line that's going to get him that momentum coming out of the turn. So as I say that, I probably should shut up.
Well, I tell you what, up at the front of the lead, Daniel Nanny and Jake Cummings door to door trying to hold on to this thing. You see Cummings there on the outside, Nanny down low. This is the battle for the lead between the 95 and the 30. Nanny trying to become the first car to lead a lap today other than Jake Cummings. And he has a nose ahead as they make their way out to the back straightaway.
Nanny's going to be able to make that pass and slide up right in front of Cummings. So now we have a new leader, Ball State, yet again, like we saw last week. We'll see how many laps they can lead here tonight, as Nanny's going to get a couple car length lead. And now it looks like these top 7 are kind of starting to spread out a little bit.
Yeah, starting to fan out just a little bit. So Daniel Nanny now up front for the 30. Jake Cummings running in P2. Drew Williams in 3rd for Clemson. Muhammad Ali 4th. Lucas Moody 5th as they run at the moment. 3 Ball State cars inside the top 5. Zach DeWale 6th. Garrett Byton 7th. Kelton Quick 8th. Jared Kaler runs 9th. Dylan Godinez runs 10th right now as they make their way on to lap 30. It has been all Ball State and Converse in the early going, but now Nanny sets sail in that clean air. Trying to get some separation from the Converse University car. Has not been able to do so much yet. And now here comes the Leaf with a great run off of turn 2. He's going to get right to the inside of Williams as they look into 3. A lunge from the 12. And he is going to have that spot. Now in the 3rd place goes Muhammad Ali directly behind Jake Cummings.
And Drew's going to get up to his back bumpers. We're looking back further in the field here. It looks like Nicholas Stockner is in a battle right now with a couple cars, including Brandon Schollenberger, who's up to the back bumper. But I believe that's Austin DeLong in 12th. This is the battle for P12 between these 3 cars. Nicholas Stockner to the inside. You can see the cars roar by, shaking that camera for you.
You see there, Stockner on the inside trying to find something there on the 222 of DeLong. Nothing going, though, that time around as we're shuffling through this field a little bit, seeing what fun battles are on track. I tell you what, this is a good little battle, but just behind him, Clint Halterman is leading an armada from 15th on back. There is just a train of cars trying to follow the 007 to the front. Ben Neller and Reese Bayham are part of that group, as you see them door-to-door for 16th.
And a lot of these guys, I mean, this has been a shuffling between the mid-pack here. I mean, other than Clint, everyone here has either fallen down a couple spots or gained a couple spots. So Clint is just trying to hold on to 15th as much as he can and try to track down Clemson. But yeah, it's we got some 2 wide action, as I believe that's Ben Neller to the outside. Now also possibly 3 wide between Auburn, Ball State.
Oh boy.
Oh geez, got a little I thought it was going to be a little crazy there.
I think to your point, that car who was all the way up toward the fence is one of the Kettering machines. That is the 72 of Connor Zabosian. We jump on board here with Benjamin Neller, one of the Ball State drivers who, got a little bit sideways there on the front straightaway. He is directly battling there, I believe, with Bayham to his inside.
Oh, there's contact at the front. Sorry, there's a lot of contact happening up at the front.
Oh, we'll have to try and see what happened there. Oh, yeah, look at this. Look at this battle up front. Oh, Muhammad, that's not a leaf, sorry, that's Lucas Moody, 3 wide. Vighton, Moody, Williams, that is 4th, 5th, and 6th. Add to Whale, Nanny, and a leaf to the mix. Jake Cummings is retaking the lead. And look at the absolute geometric nightmare that this lead pack has created. Nanny up toward the wall. Williams just to the inside. Everyone trying to sort it out. And now 3 wide for 5th.
Zach DeWale. Jeez, I can't speak. Lucas Moody, Zach DeWale, Garrett Vighton. As Vighton gets a little bit in the Moody. Moody's going to try and get to the inside. Drew Williams still 3 wide. Really, it's just Vighton and Moody as they just get ever so close to each other on the bottom of that tri-oval going into 1. It just constant 3 wide as Drew Williams is stuck to the very outside of this battle. Moody and Vighton still do not want to give up any positions. These guys really want it.
The late, great Ken Squire would call this a squadron of fighter planes roaring into turn 3. I think I would call it a hornet's nest with disaster waiting to happen at any moment as Moody and Williams up toward the wall. Vighton slid up the track, nearly shoved the 13 up there with him. Boy, this is one heck of a battle up at the front of the field. Moody and Williams door-to-door trading paint for that 4th spot. And you could add DeWale and Vighton into that mix as well. What an absolute battle is now. Contact with the wall shuffles Moody all the way down. DeWale and Vighton going to capitalize. They're going to move in to those spots. The 13 down the 7th. And now 3 wide again up for 5th.
You can never get away from the 3 wide action here in Chicago as you see St. Clair, Clemson, and ASU battling it out here for 5th. As you see Drew Williams on that middle line is going to lose out on 2 positions, possibly. Zach DeWale, I thought, had it for a second, but going to use that momentum and power his way through now to 4th. And Drew Williams is going to follow suit going into 5th. Garrett Vighton's going to be somewhat of a big loser. I don't know. I feel he started that whole ordeal in 7th, so technically he gained a spot in the last, 10 laps.
Yeah, he's walked out of here with a bit of a positive. I think the big person who's lost some track position here has been Lucas Moody, who now finds himself running in the 7th position. What a battle that those guys were putting on. I think everyone has collectively decided to take a second, try and breathe. The only door-to-door action in this little group now, Vighton and Williams, is the 42. Got a great run off the corner. He's going to look right to that inside as he dives into turn 3, trying to take away position number 5, and he will do so. So Garrett Vighton is having a great start to this season. Won at Charlotte 2 weeks ago. Had a top 10 run, I believe, last week at New Hampshire. Running in the top 5 right now, just ahead of Drew Williams. What a war that these guys are fighting. And as all this is happening, Jake Cummings has taken the lead, but Muhammad Alif starting to track him down. Only a 1/10 of a second separating the lead 2 cars.
Yeah, and right now we have a little breakaway of 3 cars. It's 2 Ball State and Jake Cummings. As you see, Wesley Shaw is now also introduced to this tornado, it seems like, of cars. But as you can see, I mean, these podium positions right now are breaking away from the rest of the field. The battle for first is still alive and running. Cummings has not really gotten any type of separation from Ball State, no matter who's in second, or Zachary DeWale when he was in second. So Cummings has not really felt any type of ease as you see the Ball State teammates battling it out.
Yeah, this is a great little battle going on for second here between teammates. Nanny going to slide up and in front of Muhammad Alif, take that spot away. And last week's winner, slots himself back into P2, trying to take down the reigning Chicagoland champ from season 11. That was a battle we got to see unfold about 10-15 laps ago when Nanny took the lead from Jake Cummings. But in all the chaos, Cummings was able to take it back, and now Nanny again going to try and track him down. However, these three cars have really separated from 4th through 7th. It's about a second now, so it's just these three cars in the mix up at the front of the field. And if Muhammad Alif's not careful, he may lose them. He's starting to fall back a little bit from Nanny and Cummings as they go roaring into turn 1.
And well, as you can see, it's getting real close up between the top two here. Jake Cummings closes the door on Nanny momentarily, but Nanny's going to have the corner panel looking to the inside. Going into 3, it looks like Ball State's going to be able to dive it in there, and that's going to allow Muhammad Alif to also join, but Cummings is going to not be able to really battle that one, as Nanny's going to slide up right in front coming out of 4 and able to keep the lead.
All right, as we watch this here, Daniel Nanny up to the front of the field once again. The 30 back to the lead. Jake Cummings going to try and hold on the second here from Muhammad Alif. Ball State was so dominant last week at New Hampshire. They're having a great run here tonight as well at Chicagoland. Seeing a fantastic duel up at the front of the field at any given point. A little bit more lap traffic here. They're going to try and clear. I believe that is Jack Wilson from North Georgia. And I'll tell you what, rough start to the race with that opening lap crash, Brad, but since then, it's been 40 laps green, and we are really seeing the tire wear and the attrition start to show up through the field. Some cars who are moving to the front, others falling to the back. As you see, Drew Williams was there under attack, and just behind them, here comes Ricky Paz and Dylan Godinez going to try and get by Kelton Quick, who got put in the fence. Not literally, but there wasn't really anywhere else for the two to go.
And that's going to now Dylan Godinez to the outside. Ricky Paz. Ricky's going to try and use the bottom line, but he's going to lose out on all that momentum going down the front stretch. As you see, he's losing 2 positions, now possibly 3, as Jared Kaler's also there. Brandon Schollenberger also eyeing it up. So now we got about a 7-car battle yet again, but this time battling a little bit within the top 10. Whoa!
Whoa, big time move. Everyone trying to clear the lap car. And everyone scrambling for position now, 3 wide into the corner. Everyone chasing Drew Williams. That's Paz in the middle of Kaler and Godinez. What a run on the outside for the 808. He's going to take all of those spots and more as Kelton Quick shoves Ricky Paz down the front straightaway. Boy, this long green flag run has led to some really dynamic passing opportunities coming off the corners, Brad. And we are seeing some really, really fantastic moves being put on.
Yeah, and I definitely think a lot of these guys that didn't burn up their tires in the first couple laps here are going to benefit. Dylan Godinez is currently on a heater. He is up from, he started today, well, in 7th, so I guess he fell back a little bit and is now making his way back up to where he started and trying to get more. As you see, Ricky Paz looking to the outside of Drew Williams. Drew Williams right now not loving this tire wear.
You see there the 100 and the 58. That is Williams and Kaler door to door. That is for position number 9. The reigning alumni champ who led 115 laps here last year, starting to have some trouble. May have burnt up the tires and all that battling. He's in danger of falling outside the top 10 right now as Kelton Quick trying to get on by. He is right there along with Brendan Schulenberger trying to run that middle lane to get around the 100. The Wingate machine gonna do it. Now here comes the 2 trying to do the same. Meanwhile, behind them, Reese Bayham, Austin DeLong having their own little war for 12th. Man, no matter where you look, there is something happening right now.
Yeah, and I mean, right now there's a 4 stack of alumni. You see some early pit stops happening. I think we see Drew Williams coming in, but also we saw some other people come in before him. And I think this is a start of the pit cycle. As you can see, I think really these guys are the side effect of bad tire wear in the beginning of this stint and trying to get some fresh ones, really banking on a caution not coming out. And now that I said that, it's probably going to come out.
And you'll see if your commentators curse it may just happen. It is worth noting at the top of the show, we mentioned that the fuel window is about 60-ish laps or so. So this could be the early start of trying to get the 2-stop strategy in, get some fresh tires, and undercut the field a little bit if you're the 100. But I'd imagine it won't be long before we see a lot more cars come down pit road as well. There looks like there's already been quite a few takers, actually, judging by the timing tower as they run. And I'd imagine the next couple laps we'll see even more. As we watch this battle here, that is Clint Halterman, Reese Bayham, Logan Smith, 10th, 11th, and 12th in this little battle right here. A couple of Auburn Tigers and a UNC Charlotte Esports driver all go in the war. Bayham had a great debut last week for Auburn, top 10 in his CIL debut, trying to get back into the top 10 here, currently running in 10th. His teammate Logan Smith had a podium last year at Talladega, trying to find some of that success here today, lurking to the inside of a championship contender from last season in Clint Halterman.
Yeah, we definitely know Clint has the speed, and Auburn right now was, making an Auburn sandwich out of Clint, but it looks like it's going to end up being Logan Smith being able to use that inside line to get past Clint. And now you got to think, for all these guys out on these older tires, these guys that have the undercut right now, how much time are they going to be gaining? Because, Dylan Gadine, Drew Williams, some of these other guys, it is a second and a half, I believe, difference in lap times between these older tires and fresher tires. So it's going to be a little interesting to see where everything lines up after a couple laps here.
And as people are cycling through for green flag pit stops, I think there's been some discrepancies on when cars are or are not pitting down pit road. It sounds like there's been multiple accounts of drivers getting into backs of one another coming off of turn 4 as someone's slowing down to get down to pit road and someone else not realizing that that's the case. It's been interesting to watch that develop. I believe the most recent one was Ben Neller and Andrew Burrell, a little deeper in the field. But within the next 10 laps here, everyone should be making their way down pit road. And you're seeing on this timing table that top group starting to get shuffled more and more as cars have peeled off to come down pit road, and more cars are trying to stay out here, potentially stretch it, and see what they can have happen.
And right now you can see Auburn teammates battling it out for the 10th position, both wanting that top 10 spot, but Reese Bayham is trying to battle out with Logan Smith. Logan to the inside, Reese to the outside. I know you can't really tell without looking at the numbers, but they are duking it out. As you can see, Reese is going to give that position up to Logan, and now Logan's going to try and track down Ball State's Kelton Quick for that 9th position. And you can kind of see some of these cars on older tires are now making their way into the picture. Nick Stockner here coming to the outside of Clint Halterman, and Ethan Decatur is also on fresh tires, so you could just see how fast those guys are compared to these older tires.
Yeah, they are real. And obviously, during the straightaways, there may not be a huge difference, but in the corners, particularly with how aggressively you can enter the corners, where you see the big difference is Stockner and Decatur just roar on past this group that are all running just around the edge of the top 10. And now here comes Zach DeWale as well. He was in that top 7 group for a good chunk of the start of this race. One of the early takers of fresh tires in that lead group. Others still on track. Daniel Nanny, Jake Cummings, R. Muhammad Ali have been the top 3 of the majority of the night, and they continue to run the top 3. None of those 3 yet to have come down pit road as we make our way toward lap 58.
And someone to note as a big mover, Ricky Paz has counted 10 positions organically and now up to the 6th position. And Brandon Schollenberger starting 12th is now up to 7th. Really, outside of that, this top 10 has been around the top 10 the entire race. As you can see, now the older tires are coming into play. As you see, just a lot of movement going on. Zach Tallman in the 71. Ooh, it gets almost into Kelton Quick. And now they're 3 wide. Michael James joining into the picture here is going to be stuck between 2 older tires and now is going to have to back out a little bit. And here comes Drew Williams.
Williams just ripping it to the fence, clears Kelton Quick. Yeah, that was a horrible spot for Michael James to get caught up in slower traffic. He had those fresh tires but had to completely bail out of the throttle with that side-by-side battle in front of him. It's going to cost him a lot of time. As you see now, Williams looks to the inside of Tallman. And obviously, on fresh tires, you're going to feel a bit like Superman out there. You can kind of just put the car wherever. And you're going to fly by all these lapped cars, but it's so hard as a driver. Oh, it looks like some horrible net code there. My goodness. You could stick a full subway footlong in between those 2 cars and they wouldn't have made contact. That was wild that got Reese Bayham all out of sorts. Not sure what happened there. I mean, we could see the gap off the back bumper. Impeccable timing there from producer Christian to show that.
I mean, I think Bayham's definitely not going to be happy with Zach because right before that, Zach got right into the back bumper of Bayham going through 3 and 4, I believe, and he already got loose from that. So Bayham's going to try and collect himself here, and it seems like really Kelton Quick, Bayham, and all these guys here are just getting caught up in some faster traffic that really can't go anywhere.
You know, that's the thing. Now with so many cars on fresh tires, everyone's starting to be similar pace from that group, except for the rolling speed bumps that are the cars on 60-lap older tires. So you see a lot of them make short work of it. You see Wesley Shaw, who has not had the same the pace as Reese Bayham tonight, going to go right on by him here in the turn 3. Those fresh tires doing wonders for that number 73 machine. And as for the 3, you got to imagine, you got to be careful when you decide to finally bring it down pit road. With so many cars on fresh tires, it might get you into a weird spot whenever you decide it's time. Jared Kaler, another one. Oh, caution's out. Oh, that's going to be huge for about the 15 or 16 cars who had not come down pit road yet. Oh, man, and it might be Ricky Paz is one of the cars involved. He was having a fantastic run in the front half of this race.
Man, oh man, yeah, that throws a wrench in a lot of people's situation here. The strategy calls are all out the window now, especially for, let's see, I believe the top 17 cars are on the lead lap. Jason Wallet ending up being the last car in the lead lap from the looks of it. But looking back at the replay, Ricky Paz that we saw was driving up through the field, making it through the front stretch.
I tell you what, as we watch the replay here to see what happened to Ricky Paz, looks like a case of a lot of cars in this mix, some on older tires, some on fresher tires. Let's see. Thought it was going to be there, but maybe, oh yeah, it would be coming off of turn 4 actually, because there was the issue on the front straightaway. Looks like he may have got tagged a little bit by Zach Tallman. We got little telestrator action there. All right, is that you there, Brad? Bringing up the John Madden.
No, that is producer Christian.
Oh, that was producer Christian highlighting it.
Oh,
I tell you what, let's see if we can go back to that one more time, and we'll bring up the telestrator again. That's fantastic stuff.
I think that was Nathaniel Crone that got into the back bumper of Ricky Paz. So Ricky Paz definitely overshot that entrance in the pit road, causing him to do some evasive maneuvers, and it looks like Nathaniel Crone had nowhere to go. I mean, from what we saw, just utter obliteration to the backside of Ricky Paz there.
Yeah, that's a tough break for the ECU number 19. He was having a great run, was up to 6th naturally before the pit cycle. And this is on board with Nathaniel Crone. I'll be honest, I'm not really sure where he was going. He picked the one spot where Ricky was. He had the entire track to work with. I see it looks like Ricky's kind of drifting up, but like didn't really go down, didn't really go up, and it really is just kind of a tough situation to pull from right there.
Man, oh man. Well, that's gonna cause a lot of problems for a lot of these guys here tonight that definitely tried to do the undercut and obviously did not work out for them. They're going to get the free pass, but going to have to start on the tail end of the lead lap cars. And Alex, if you're someone in this top group, you know, you made it halfway to the end of this race, do you think another green flag stretch is going to happen and just, you know, battle it out, save those tires, or what's your thoughts?
I think it's in the best interest of a lot of drivers out there if it does. But it depends. The restarts always can get a little dicey. They always say that cautions breed cautions. The one thing I will say is that worked out immaculately for the drivers who had not come down pit road yet. There are folks like Drew Williams who pit on lap 50 and had already put 12, 13 laps on those tires before the caution came out. So chances are they will also have come down pit road to put fresh tires on so they don't burn out or like get caught up with already burnt out tires compared to the field. So that worked out immaculately for the leaders. But that's not to say we didn't see a little bit of shuffling in that lead group there, Brad. I tell you what, I'm looking at this lead group. You know, Jake Cummings, Muhammad Alif, Garrett Vighton, the top three, and I'm like, all right, all folks that we've seen up at the front of the field so far. In fourth, Brandon Schulenberger, the highest he's run today, up from 12th. He's now fourth. Nanny Kaler, 5 and 6. Clinton Halterman up a good few spots as well. He's now 7th with Lucas Moody in 8th. Kelton Quick, Logan Smith, your top 10. And then just outside the top 10, we have some really big movers. Connor Zabosian's up 11. Jake Hall's up 8. Edward Sanchez up 22. And then Jason Wallet just behind them, also up 13 from 29th to 16th. So some fantastically big movers there in that just outside the top 10 range. And I think we are going to be seeing some of them get into the mix here now that this whole field has been wadded up once again.
Well, I mean, we have the top three that have pretty much been putting on a show for us here at the back half of that green flag run, and Daniel Nanny also up there, but Jared Kaler, Clint Halterman, Brandon Schoenberger, some guys that also are here to mix it up. So we're going to see what will happen here. Second half of the race is going to start here at the green flag. Jake Cummings, Muhammad Alif, your front row. Pace lights are out, and the pace car is going to make his way down to the pit road. Converse, Ball State, we've seen them up front pretty much all race already, going into the Geico restart zone, and the green flag is out, and Jake Cummings gets a huge jump out in front, going into lap 67.
So just over halfway here in this event, race 3 of the Garage Shop College Cup Series. It's the Eagles Flight at Chicagoland 200, presented by Texas A&M Texarkana. And we are now rolling here. You see that front 5, 6 cars have all kind of strung out single file, but 3 wide from about 7th on back. Lucas Moody just barely escaping, getting caught in the middle of Clint Halterman and Logan Smith. And then things getting a little dicier deeper in the field. Man, it is 2 and 3 wide through the mid-pack right now. It is a scary place to be in this central group.
And I mean, a lot of these guys have to get used to fresh tires again. As you can see, Lucas Moody is trying to make that outside work with the fresh tires and using the momentum to keep Clint Halterman behind right now in the UNC Charlotte sandwich. As you see, Kelton Quick also in frame along with Logan Smith and Connor Sabosian.
You see Zabosian, a nice little run there to the high side for Kettering. He's going to clear the Auburn car. And he's going to get a great run on Kelton Quick, too, the 72. Going to move his way into the 9th position, potentially, if he's able to make that move stick. He's got a nose ahead, but he will be door-to-door here with Kelton Quick. Got a little loose through the center of the corner. Going to cost him some time as now Zach DeWale going to look to the inside. Here goes Logan Smith. Is it going to be 4 wide? No, 3 wide still. Oh, as you see some cars there on the apron. I think that was Keegan Kalick. Still 3 wide, though, there. Jake Hall, Kelton Quick, Logan Smith. Man, this is going to be a dangerous spot for Kelton to be in, going in the 1, depending on how this accordion's up. Just barely slides in front of Jake Hall. Chopped the nose off. Boy, that is... they are really going at it here on the restart. And meanwhile, back up front, you see 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Or sorry, that's 3rd, 4th, and 5th. All Ball State Cardinals nose to tail. Going to try and freight train their way up to Jake Cummings and Garrett Vighton. But they've got about a second that they got to make up already. They lost a ton of time, as you see Schulenberger going to tack on to the Cardinal train here.
And right now, I'm thinking the top 2 of Jake Cummings, Garrett Vighton, using those tires while they can, but I think really Ball State and everyone back here might be trying to use the draft, save their tire a little bit. I think Lucas Moody is getting a little antsy, and as I say that, Ball State goes on the offensive against their own teammate. Daniel Nanny is able to get by a Leaf. That might be a little bit of a team order there. It looked a little too easy for Daniel Nanny, as you see Brandon Schoenberger all up on the backside of Lucas Moody.
Yeah, and you saw there, just behind him, I've been keeping an eye on the fact that Connor Zabosian and Zach DeWale have been at a good little battle here for 7th as well. That 72 has been aggressive since the restart, trying to make up some track position. And now he kind of finds himself here in a good spot, as it's 3 wide just behind them as well. Things getting really, really bunched up there. Looks like Drew Williams, Jared Kaler, Jake Hall, that little group back there got really all sorts of tangled up. But we stay side by side here. Schulenberger, DeWale, Sabosian, and Smith A lot of points to fight for in this top 10 right now. Everybody trying to get their hands on some when everyone's still bunched together. As you see the Kettering car roaring along that outside. He's going to be able to clear Schulenberger potentially going into turn 3.
And as you say that, Zachary DeWale looking to the outside, and they're 3 wide behind. Logan Smith is able to use that outside and get past both Drew Williams and Brandon Schollenberger, take that 8th place away, and now looking to the backside of Connor Zabosian, who's now also looking to the outside of Lucas Moody. 2 wide, 3 wide deep.
See there, that is a Leaf and DeWale side by side, Moody and Zabosian. A lot of battling happening in this group. You see Williams trying to slide up in front of Smith. A great little battle here in the top 10. They have been really going at it for every spot in this top 10 all evening long. We saw that crazy battle for 2nd through 7th earlier on, about 20, 30 laps ago, and now we're picking up kind of where we left off here with a lot of the same faces. You know, Leaf and DeWale and Moody being a part of that group. Zabosian obviously being a new face in the mix, but he is putting himself right in position to try and make something happen. Drew Williams on those fresh tires. We know he has pace when the tires are fresh, and he is working his way back up through the field. He's in 8th right now, trying to track down this group. The question for the 100 is that long-run pace that he seemed to have some issues with in that opening stint. We'll see how he fares this time around as he is closing in on Zabosian and Moody.
As you can see it, everyone's in that single file line on the outside for the most part throughout the field. But really, this top 10 doesn't want to stop being, single file. They want to battle for every position they can. As you see Zach DeWale trying to roar past Muhammad Alif on that outside. Right now, going into turn 1, has a nose ahead, but Muhammad Alif's going to send it in there, keep it nose to nose going through turns 1 and 2, and actually going to try and outrun the Whale coming out of 2. It seems like they're still nose to nose. Alif doing a great job battling on the inside here. Yet again, it looks like same exact thing as 1 and 2. Alif able to send it on in there, keep it nose to nose. Zabosian loves seeing this, trying to get his way up into the top 4 now. As you see, really the top 3 are spacing each other out, trying to get away from everyone else.
Yeah, it's being strung out a little bit up at the front of the field. But back here, you can only dream of having the space that the top 3 cars have right now. As Alif is going to clear DeWale, was not by much, but he was able to make that car about as wide as possible, cut off the line from the 519, and I'll move in the 4th place. Moody and Williams here, the battle for 7th. They nearly make contact off of 4. That almost got really dicey there coming off the corner. Not giving each other any bit of room as they dive back into turn number 1. You see Moody on the apron there. Williams 1 lane higher in that Orange Wheel Racing number 100 machine. The battle for 7th is on, and it's about to be the battle for 6th as Connor Zabosian has fallen right into the clutches of this. But so have 4th and 5th through all the battling with Alif and DeWale. It's really about to be a 5-car battle for 4th when this thing gets all bottled up here in just a moment.
Right now, Zabosian has to block 2 lines coming out of 4 there and through the front stretch, as it seems like Moody and Drew are just both nose to nose, not really gaining an advantage due to Zabosian doing a little bit of blocking. But right now, Zach DeWale is now under attack for that 5th position from Connor Zabosian. Zabosian looking to the inside of the St. Clair machine. Going to get that nose out in front a little bit, but DeWale's going to be able to use a little bit of momentum to get by him. And I believe right now it's stalled out. Zabosian's able to keep it door to door going into 1.
Fantastic action happening right now in the Eagles flight at Chicagoland 200, presented by Texas A&M Texarkana. Look at the door-to-door battling we've got here. Some great stuff. DeWale going to chop the nose off Zabosian, holding on to 5th here. Gets down to that apron. The 72 going to tuck in behind. Here comes Lucas Moody to the outside, trying to take away 6th place. He was falling back through the order a little bit, but has found some speed here in the past couple laps and is starting to get back into the picture. This whole battle happening about 2 1/4 seconds off of the leader, Jake Cummings. But up at the front, Garrett Vighton has caught leader Jake Cummings. We've got ourselves a scrap for the lead here once again. It is the 95 and the 42. Cummings looking to retain that Chicagoland win from last season. Viton looking to try and make it his second win of the season and second CIL win in 3 weeks.
And right now, Viton's definitely given everything he can to the back bumper of Jake Cummings. Cummings is able to keep himself cool and collected. As you can see, they're both pretty relaxed right now, honestly, going through this battle for the lead. As you can see, Viton's pretty much running the same line as Cummings, and really, these guys have a buffer of about 1.2 seconds back to Nanny and then another second back to Alif and the rest of the field. So these guys are kind of pushing each other, and I think Viton's really been gaining a lot of time on Cummings these past couple of laps, because he was about 7 or 8 tenths off, I would say, about 10 laps ago, and now he's right in the picture, as you can see, using all of the track right in the on board here with Viton, looking to the backside of that Converse machine, and it's not getting any further away, Alex.
Now he has just glued himself to the back bumper of the Converse machine right now. And much to your point, about 10 laps ago, Cummings had about a 7/10 of an advantage on Garrett Viton, and he was about a second and a half or so clear of Daniel Nanny. That gap to Nanny has shrunk a little bit, but the gap to Viton has plummeted. I think the moment he got back into the draft of the 95, he just stuck right back up to the back bumper of the Converse University machine. And now they are nose to tail, as they have been for the past several laps. Cummings goes low in 3 and 4. Viton's going to follow him right there to the apron. And they both looking incredibly relaxed at the moment. I think Cummings is just running his race, knowing that Viton is going to have to step out to make a move around him, with Cummings feeling really confident in his line. And I think Garrett Viton pretty comfortable just to let this go right now, knowing that they are both saving tire from getting caught up in that big battle we were seeing from 4th on back. Because now that group is now 3 seconds south of the leaders. The only car within the same zip code of the leaders right now is Daniel Nanny. Everyone else a good chunk of time behind. So we'll watch this battle unfold a little bit, but I think right now both of these drivers kind of settling into their rhythm, and I think Viton's only going to make a move if Cummings slips up.
Yeah, and I mean, there's 45 laps to settle this thing, so I think Viton right now is trying to take it easy, save some tire, and, you know, Daniel Nanny hasn't necessarily gained any time on these top 2, and now after Nanny, looking back, there's a 5-car battle really for the 4th position. These guys all in single file, but as I say that, Connor Zabosian looking to the outside of Zachary the Whale. St. Clair, we're into because Zabosian goes around, back up into the field.
Oh, that could have been catastrophic. Luckily, the entire field missed the 72 of Connor Zabosian as he went roaring back up into the front stretch wall. And miraculously, little to no damage on the Kettering University machine, but that will bring out the yellow for the 3rd time tonight. And that one came out from the top 5 cars. Boy, we were just saying it looked like things had maybe settled in a little bit in that group, Brad, and then the moment that happens, calamity.
Yeah, we saw Connor. He was really making every move, it seemed like, at the beginning of this green flag run. And we'll have to see in the replay here, coming out of turn 4. Well, it all starts as, you know, we jump back in. They were all single filed out, pretty tamed. And, you know, that commentator's curse, I feel like every time I say they're tame, something happens. So,
yeah, so they did another little go around here, but you were seeing as they made their way down the back straightaway, this whole group kind of accordions in a little bit. And then this is what happens off of turn 4. You see, just tries to get off the wall a little bit, maybe got a little bit loose, and, you know, around they go. And I think really importantly is this moment right here. You can just see how close things get. I mean, that is just, we got to get an onboard of one of those cars who went by. We're going to pull up an onboard of one of those folks. We'll also get an onboard with the 72 here to see what he was seeing from the cockpit. There's the onboard with the Kettering University machine. Yeah, I think he was just trying to get off the wall. I think he came off of 4 a little too hot. And right back at that's a terrifying feeling as a driver, looking directly back at the rest of the field. I mean, you can't script a more nightmarish frame if you tried. I mean, yeah, how many
there's-
cars are coming
We'll
at
just
you
like,
right
make
now?
as many numbers here. There's a lot of cars coming. And he is looking at every single one of them. And I actually don't know how. Is that Ricky Paws?
Yeah, that's Ricky who slides by at the last moment. And we'll see how close he gets off the back bumper. Boy, yeah, that is close. Probably was clear when he went by with probably less than a foot. And with that, that does change the complexion of this race. I think a lot of drivers have come down pit road. I would imagine they would after a nice little stint of about 20-some laps on those tires. And one set here will get you set up nicely for the end if you couldn't make it on fuel already. So this will be a big opportunity. And as the field is shuffling through, I can't say everybody made their way down pit road. One car, it appears, has stayed out from that lead group. And that car is the 124 of Nick Stockner, who has put himself up at the front of the field here by electing not to come down pit road. It's going to put him in a very interesting predicament, though, when the cars directly behind him are Jake Cummings, Daniel Nanny, R. Muhammad Alif, and Lucas Moody. A couple of really, really fast race cars directly behind the 124. So the field stacked up, ready to go once again. Pace car, lights are off. Gonna peel off here. Be interesting to see how this front row reacts. The 124 has to not spin his tires as we get going once again. And it's actually the 95 who spins his tires a little bit. And roaring to the front is Nick Stockner and Daniel Nanny. And now here comes Alif all the way to the outside, 3 wide going in the one.
Whoa! I think Alif just blew his motor. Oh my.
Something has happened to the 12. He is completely down on power here going down the back straightaway.
Oh.
Whatever happens, we stayed green, but the 12 car, his day might be over. I mean, something is very wrong. We saw the puff of smoke pop out as he made his way in the one. You see right there. Didn't make contact with anybody. No front end damage. And yeah, the motor just goes. Huh.
I wonder if there was, I don't know.
Catastrophic to the 12 team's effort. I mean, he was having a great day. He was running top 3 this entire event. And now going to roll back to pit lane. Yeah, there is no RPM happening there. His day might be over.
Does all that happen? I mean, Nick Stockner on those older tires, it says he came into pit road lap 90, so obviously he might have, and that definitely got him up into the lead and is good enough right now to keep him up in front for these first 5 laps as the rest of the field goes side by side. Second place right now, Zachary DeWale launches it in there on the outside line, able to clear Daniel Nanny for that second position, and now we have a alumni 1-2 as now Jake Cummings looks to the inside of Daniel Nanny.
Yeah, Stockner, a little bit of pit strategy here, has put himself in a very interesting position, but it seems like the pace is there for now. DeWale runs second, Nanny and Cummings door-to-door for third. These two have led the majority of the laps here tonight, and they are currently trying to track down the leaders here as time is beginning to wane. Drew Williams looking for redemption from last year's heartbreaking loss after leading by far the majority of laps. About as high as he's run all night as well, currently sitting in P5. And then things are getting real dicey back there, 8th and 9th. Ricky Paz, Jake Hall. What a little battle going on right at the tail end of the top 10. As Zach DeWale looks to the inside of Stockner. He's going to try and make a pass for the lead there. Almost had it going, but then the 124 shut the door.
And now, a little bit of elbows out there as Drew Williams gets a little touch on the Daniel Nanny. Nanny gets down to that low line, and Drew's able to follow in line to the back bumper of Jake Cummings, and now has the momentum. Isn't going to use it, though. So he's going to push the 95 towards the top two and try and track down his Clemson teammate up in the lead right now, and also fellow alumni.
See Drew Williams there running in the 4th position, just ahead of Daniel Nanny, last week's winner at New Hampshire. Running 3-4-5, Jake Cummings leading this little group. They're about a half second off of the leader, though. Nick Stockner, Zach DeWale directly on his back bumper. Next time by, it's going to be about 35 laps to go here at Chicagoland. This Eagles flight at Chicagoland 200, presented by Texas A&M Texarkana Esports. Proving to be quite the show so far. We have had some crazy battles up front all evening long, and something tells me we're going to have a few more before this thing is said and done. Zach DeWale not that far off from Nick Stockner for the lead, and as this battle is going, they are slowly starting to get encroached upon by Jake Cummings and Drew Williams, reeling them in about a couple hundredths every lap here.
Yeah, right now we've kind of seen a good bit of different leaders leading this race, and it's been a great show of sportsmanship and also a lot of skill here. As you can see, some 2 wide, 2 rows deep action. You see Jake Hall, Brandon Schulenberg, Clint Holtzman, Garrett Vighton all battling it out right now for the 8th position. Clint's going to try and use that outside line and pushes Vighton down a little bit, trying to get as much room as he can going into turn 3 here. Vighton, we saw he was fast that last stint, was able to get past Holtzman. Jake Hall is right up to the back bumper of Clint Holtzman and make that 3 wide going down the front stretch. Jake Hall down to the apron, almost to the grass, and now coming back up and is still on the low side. Going to have to break that bottom side if he wants to make the turn without any problems happening. And now it's 2 by 2 as you see Brandon Schoenberger use the outside line to get past Clint Halterman. And now we have Logan Smith and Jake Hall battling it out for that 11th position. Man, this is a lot going on here around the 10th position.
Absolutely. Jake Hall's battle's not done yet. He's got Logan Smith to his outside, Jared Kaler, Jason Wallet directly behind them as well. See the 98 going to try and drive it in deep here into turn 1, trying to clear the Auburn machine. Logan Smith just has a nose to the outside still, but the 98 going to clear. A nice little pass there from the Clemson Tiger, but now the over-under from Smith going to look back to the bottom here in 3. No pass is easy here in the CIL, especially when the laps start ticking away. And this has proven to be the point here through the back half of the top 10. You've got to scratch and claw for every position here, especially when you start running up toward the front.
And I think Jake Hall is going to use every inch he can of this outside line. I think he was not very happy with that bottom line, as he sees able to keep the position away from Logan Smith, and now everything singles out. There's a lot of looking at the manufacturers here. I mean, pretty much the entirety of the field, Chevys and Fords, and Chevy's currently running 6 of the top 7. And one of those Chevys right now in Jared Kaler is behind here, trying to take 12th position away from Logan Smith, but is still going to fall in line here. So really we have about 7 or 8 cars single file back into about 15th. As I say that, it's a alumni 1, 2, 3. Now Drew Williams looking for 3rd from Jake Cummings for the moment on the outside, battling it with Converse. Clemson to the outside, using that momentum coming down the front stretch, is able to keep a nose ahead, but that's about it. Cummings is not going to let that 3rd position go easily. As you see Ricky Paz and also Daniel Nanny looking at this battle, but the front 2 especially love this battling going on.
And Williams is going to clear Cummings there. These 2 were the cars battling for the win last year at Chicagoland. Williams had the lead, lost it in the last 5 laps to Cummings. Now they find themselves 3rd and 4th, trying to track down Drew Williams' longtime teammate, Nick Stockner, who is looking still for his first ever CIL victory. He has been running this year for close to 100 races. He is come so close multiple times, and now has found himself in as good a position as any. In the closing laps here, Zach DeWale, the only car within a second as this group is. Look at this little battle, 4, 5, 6. Here comes Ricky Paz. He had some issues a little bit earlier in the race. He was that second caution back on lap 67. And despite the incident there with him and Nathaniel Chrome, that 19 still wicked fast as he looks to try and take over the 5th spot.
And you can see he's antsy to get around Daniel Nanny, but Nanny's also antsy to get around Jake Cummings. Cummings stuck on the inside right now, trying to use as much as he can to try and keep up with Nanny and pause on that outside line. Jake Cummings is going to send it in there, but Daniel Nanny's going to send it a little further, able to pinch him down a little bit, but that's going to give that run to Daniel Nanny coming out of the corner. And it looks like Cummings is able to keep alongside him, getting a little bit of side draft as well. Going in the one, still side by side, nose to nose. And Ricky Paz is, ooh, they're getting a little hectic here too.
That they are. You see right now this battle, 4th, 5th, and 6th, really unfolding in a big way. Nanny getting pushed in front by Ricky Paz is going to clear Jake Cummings. Here comes Paz to the outside now, trying to take away that spot from the 95. Got a good little run off the corner. He's going to get a nose ahead up the line. He's going to be credited with being 5th that lap, but he has not completed the pass yet over the Converse University machine. Going to run back up to that high line once again. That's where the 19 has felt really comfortable most of the night, and he will take over P5. Jake Cummings now down to 6. Ricky Paz, man on a mission here, trying to get to this front group. However, all of this has not got them any closer to Nick Stockner and Zach DeWale. Those two cars find themselves 1 second and about 1.3 seconds actually clear as Zach DeWale alongside Nick Stockner, he's going for the lead. Zach DeWale on the 519 door-to-door with Nick Stockner for the lead here with 25 laps to go.
Clemson St. Clair's Stockner gets up into him, is able to save it and stay within relativity of Zachary DeWale. DeWale's going to try and build a gap now back to Clemson 2-3. As you see, some lap cars are also entering the picture, but right now Zachary DeWale was staying on the back bumper of Nick Stockner and has been able to get around him finally, and now he's going to try and close out these final 22 laps with Clemson really breathing down their neck.
I tell you what, for the two cars running in the front two right now, tonight could be a monumental night. If you're Nick Stockner and you find a way back to the front of the field, it would be your first ever win in 89 attempts. He has come so close a number of times, but has not been able to close one out yet. But even for Zach DeWale, I mean, this is a guy who has had some good runs lately, but has not found success in the CIL in quite a couple of seasons. His last win, Season 7 at Talladega. So that was about, what do we say, about a calendar year and a half ago for the 519, maybe closer to 2 years. So both of these guys, long time coming if they're able to find their way to victory lane. But you don't want to jump the gun just yet because Drew Williams and Daniel Nanny starting to make some headway on the 124 and subsequently the 519.
Yeah, I think these guys were saving some tires, and these front two are now going to try and have to block their way to a podium position if they want any way to get into the top 5, really, I think. So right now, Stockner and Clemson of Drew Williams battling it out for second position. Drew jumps out to the inside, sends it there into 3. Stockner's battling on the outside, going to try and use the momentum coming out of 4 to stay alongside, try to keep a podium position because Daniel Nanny is right there, right behind Drew Williams to take that position away. So Nick is doing a great job right now of using that outside line, but it looks like Drew got a little push going down the front stretch, and that's going to give him second position, and now Stockner is under attack for the 3rd position.
You know, we've talked all night about the fact that Drew Williams led 115 laps here last year and then was not able to close it out for the win. How poetic would he be if he was not able to lead much of anything tonight, but to take the lead in the closing laps? He's up to 2nd. It's as high as he's run all night. But here comes a whole host of cars as well. We've got Stockner getting passed by Ricky Paz right now for 4th. Daniel Nanny directly in Williams' tire tracks for 3rd. Everybody trying to track down Zach DeWale. Boy, this is about to be a really fascinating finish. If this oh boy, I almost didn't even get to say finishes and staying green because Ricky Paz bounces off the lap car of Zach Tolman, gets that group a little out of sorts. As you see now, Nanny taking a peek to the inside for 2nd.
And right now, it looks like I think Tallman has those fresh tires trying to battle his way back from a lap down. But right now, it's getting a little dicey up here. As you can see, Nick Stockner now under attack from Jake Cummings. Jake Cummings looking to the inside out of 2. He's going to try and use that bottom line. and is able to get a nose in front, but they're about dead even in momentum coming down the backstretch here. Going into turn 3, Cummings is going to try and use the little bit of tire advantage that he has and get in front of Nick Stockner. I think that 2-tire call is showing its wares. You see Garrett Vighton getting right up to the corner pale of Stockner. Stockner into the wall a little bit, but able to keep up the momentum.
It worked for about 15 laps. Unfortunately for Nick Stockner, he has about 30 from when that caution came out to how far he needed to stretch this thing. Although I'm looking at the times here, they are closing in a little bit on Zach DeWale, Drew Williams, Daniel Nanny, only now about 0.3 of a second and closing on the 519. And he is bringing the entire top 10 with him. You can just see everybody nose to tail. Ricky Paz, Jake Cummings, Garrett Vighton, Lucas Moody, and more. All in this lead group trying to track down Zach DeWale. This is not a place I'd like to be right now if I was the 519. There is a full army of cars bearing down on the back of that St. Clair machine, as we've got a great battle going here between Ricky Paz and Jake Cummings for 4th.
ECU, Converse University battling it out here going into turn 4, and this battle has been brewing for a little bit here. Now you can see Cummings looking to the inside of Ricky Paz. Paz is going to use the momentum, and now also behind them, Lucas Moody, Garrett Vighton battling it out, and Brandon Schulenberger now slowly creeping into the picture. So everyone is really trying to get what they can out of these final 15 laps, trying to use every tire advantage they have if they saved any tire at all. As you see, Ricky Paz is getting a little loose coming out of some of these corners, allowing Jake Cummings to use the inside and now keep it nose to nose going 3 and 4. Right behind him, Lucas Moody and Garrett Vighton doing the same as Vighton gets up, and now there's a lap car that almost gets in the way.
Everyone had to duck to avoid Andrew McManus there. But up at the front of the field, Daniel Nanny is breathing down the neck of Zach DeWale in the dying moments of this race. He's now looking to the inside. Daniel Nanny trying to go back-to-back here after winning last week in New Hampshire. Can he complete the pass on St. Clair's Zach DeWale? The 519 going to try and hold it in that middle lane. Nanny all the way down to the bottom. Little bit of contact through 3 and 4. They continue the touch. Almost into the wall. There was a big-time tire rub between those two. Neck and neck at the line. Laps continuing to tick away. More fender banging between the two.
Zachary DeWale wants this win, like you said. Oh, as they get a little bit more physical coming out of 2. Nanny up in the DeWale. DeWale's trying everything he can to stay alongside. And now Drew Williams, Jake Cummings also included in this picture. But DeWale and Nanny right now, elbows are out, trying to get everything they can. Nanny's going to be able to get that car right in front of DeWale and take the lead away.
He just has the lead, but look at this cluster behind him. 8 cars within 0.6 of a second with just over 10 laps to go. Daniel Nanny has the lead after he had to beat and bang his way past Zach DeWale. There was a whole lot of contact between those two in the past several corners. Drew Williams sits 3rd, Lucas Moody 4th, Jake Cummings 5th. As next time by, it'll be 11 laps to go. Nanny trying to hold on to the win here. He has created absolutely no separation from the field behind him as half the top 10 just careened into the outside wall, following each other up the hill.
Yeah, sometimes follow the leader doesn't work as they're 3 wide as for 4th place. That is Lucas Moody, Garrett Vighton, Jake Cummings, all trying to get that 4th position away, trying to make it to the podium.
Next time by, it's going to be 10 laps to go here. Daniel Nanny has the lead by a couple tenths of a second over Zach DeWale. Garrett Vighton, Drew Williams battling for 3rd. Cummings and Moody battling for 5th. Here comes the 42 now with a great run on the outside. He's going to look to jump into 3rd place. The Sun Devil and the Clemson Tiger go in the war for the final spot on the podium, and he's turned. Garrett Vighton spun on the back straightaway. Contact with Drew Williams. Oh, boy. And this is going to set up an absolutely fascinating finish. Boy, that was a really, really tough situation to be in.
Yeah, we saw everyone getting real close, trying to do some side drafting. Elbows were definitely out, and I think the elbows might have gotten a little too physical in the wrong spot there.
And this is going to set up a very, very short run to the finish. Sounds like there was potentially some net code there between the 42 and the 100. Let's see if we can take a look and see what happened. Or actually, we can do it after pit stops here. It looks like most of the field's pitting. Let's see the pit stops first. This is going to be super critical.
Oh,
The entire field diving down the pit road. Is anyone going to try and stay out? Looks like maybe one Penn College of Technology car going to give it a go. But actually, that might be Dylan Godinez, who was a lap down. Or it could have been Austin DeLong. Hard to tell from that angle. But this is a critical pit stop. The winner of the race off of pit road may just put himself in a position to win the race here.
And after what everyone saw from Nick Stockner, it'll be interesting to see if it's a two-wheel call for everyone. Daniel Nanny, Zach DeWale definitely taking that call as long as everyone else from the looks of it. It looks like Jake Cummings, I think, took 4. That's going to really drop him down the scoreboard. As there's at least 10 or 12 cars that took 2 tires.
That is a fascinating turn of events. I tell you what, one of the cars who really launched off of pit road, who we have not talked about a ton tonight, is Jake Hall in the 98. He has put himself in prime position here to try and pick up a win. Ricky Paz, for that matter, as well. We'll see if 2 tires is the right call when it's said and done. A lot of cars took it, and I think from the proof of concept that it was competitive with the 4-tire calls for Nick Stockner for about 15 laps or so. And that is more than enough time, even with a green-white checkered. Also going to keep an eye on that 58 of Jared Kaler. This is about as high as he's run all night. The former champ looking to try and steal one here. Boy, this is going to get really fascinating, Brad.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that's saved right now, Drew Williams gets to stay up at the front row because of, you know, the net code call from the steward. So he is right now on your front row with Daniel Nanny. And like you said, Jared Kaler, who we've seen not really up in the top 5 today, made his way up there now. And Garrett Vighton, actually, after all that tumbling, is sitting in the 8th position. So he really didn't take too much of a hit, at least statistically, from that wreck. But yeah, Jake Hall obviously sitting here in 5th. Gonna be a crazy, crazy final set of 5 laps, I believe here, Alex.
Yeah, when they hit the line, there'll be 5 or 6 laps to go. If needed, there will be one attempt at a green-white checkered finish, but let's see if we would even need it. Daniel Nanny, Drew Williams, your front row. Zach DeWale, Jared Kaler, row 2. Jake Hall, Ricky Paz, row 3. Kelton Quick, Garrett Vighton, row 4. Edward Sanchez, Lucas Moody. Rounding out that top 10. Pace car going to peel off down pit road. We've had a great race here tonight at Chicagoland, and it's all going to come down to this green flag in the air for potentially the final time. And Nanny gets a great launch. Williams really struggled on the launch. And here goes the 30 and the 519 into turn 1.
And everyone's going to use everything they can here with these final 5 laps. As you see Drew Williams, Jared Kaler, 2 long-time nemesis, well, not nemesis, but really have battled it out throughout all of the races in the CIL, battling it yet again here in Chicagoland. But Ricky Paz is joining in now in the middle of 3 wide between Clemson, and Jared Kaler's going to take that final podium spot as Vighton and Drew get together again, and elbows are out.
Yeah, and I can't say I'm shocked by that, but Vighton flies on by 4 wide behind him. Moody and Hall in the middle of Halterman and Williams. 4 wide for the top 10 spots. Hall going to get shuffled out. Now 3 wide down the back straightaway, 2 rows deep. Unbelievable. What a battle here as the laps continue to tick away. Contact between Williams and Moody. Sanchez bouncing off the 13. Everybody keeping that car pointed the right direction. Nobody giving an inch with 4 laps to go, or 5 laps to go.
Sanchez somehow gets through all of that. It's going to be the big winner, ending up in 7th, but 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Drew into the wall is going to lose out. Connor Sabosian is back up on the backside of Drew Williams, looking for a top 10 at the moment. This is all about 7th to about 20th.
Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Zach DeWale is on the back bumper of Daniel Nanny for the win. We have 3 laps to go, 1 car length. separating Zach DeWale of St. Clair College from Daniel Nanny of Ball State. Roaring in the turn one there. The 30 down to the apron, the 519 gonna follow. Onto the backstretch. Is there gonna be a move? Trying to break the draft was Daniel Nanny. Is he gonna be able to hold off the charging 519 machine?
The Whale hungry for a win. Daniel Nanny, who has already won this season. Two guys that are in two completely different situations in terms of distance from win right now, battling it out as you see Garrett Fighton making his way back up through the field, now in the third position, taken away from Jared Kaler. That ASU machine is trying to make himself at least capable to get to the front here.
Coming around the turns 3 and 4 for the penultimate time tonight. As they make their way off of turn 4, the white flags in the air presented by the McConey Setup Shop, your homes for setups, paint schemes, coaching, and more. As they go back into turn 1, it is Daniel Nanny leading by a car length over Zach DeWale. DeWale's going to lunge it in really far. Is he going to have anything going into turn 3? He's going to have one more chance to try and make something happen. Right to the back bumper, looking to the outside. Here comes Garrett Fighton. It's not going to be enough. Daniel Nanny going to go back-to-back, wins at New Hampshire, and is going to win here tonight at Chicagoland. What a thrilling finish. And Daniel Nanny just barely going to hold off Zach DeWale for the win. Garrett Fighton, I tell you what, he made it interesting there at the end. He's going to finish P3.
I mean, there is a crazy finish first off, but like all of the names that jumped in and out of the top 10 in those closing laps was amazing. First things first, Edward Sanchez starting 36 ends up 7th, and Jared Kaler, who we saw bouncing all over the place, ends up in 4th. Ricky Paws also up there, Clint Halterman, and I mean everyone was chasing really Daniel Nanny today, and as you can see now, he is really an unstoppable force from what these last two races have told us.
It's been a great start to the season for the third. It was a tough opener in Charlotte. Had some issues, got caught up in a late incident. However, back-to-back wins, was dominating at New Hampshire, and while he led the most laps here tonight, I believe, it was anything but an easy win for Daniel Nanny tonight. Had to hold off multiple contenders late in that race, and is just able to make it happen. What a result. What a race. What a night. Chicagoland putting on one hell of a show. Well, folks, we are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, your full results from tonight's race at Chicagoland, the full results of the Eagles' flight at Chicagoland 200 presented by the Texas A&M TAMUT Esports program, and interviews with your podium finishers. You won't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, McConey.
With the launch of McConey Entertainment and McConey Competizone alongside McConey Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeySetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. A phenomenal race we just had here tonight. I'm still trying to catch my breath after that finish. The Eagles flight at Chicagoland 200 put on a show, that is for sure. And ultimately, it was okay. Actually, instead of final results first and then the interviews, let's do the interviews first. So joining us now is race winner from Ball State University, Daniel Nanny. Hey there, Daniel. You got a copy?
Yeah, sure.
I tell you what, it feels like just a week ago we were talking about how you got into victory lane, and here we are once again. 2 in a row for you. Congrats. It seems like this one, though, you might have had to fend off some challengers a bit more right at the end here versus last week.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting it to be like a 8-lap dash to the end there, but yeah, I had a lot of fun holding on to the lead there.
Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about your night. It seemed like you had the pace to catch the leader at any given point, but it looked like you just kind of kept getting shuffled out of it from time to time, whether it was the caution that put you back in traffic or just something happening on track, but you had to keep working your way to the front. What was it like to constantly be doing the give and pull tonight?
Well, that was part of the plan. I wasn't going to push it because I knew if I pushed it, I'd just cook the right front, and I didn't want to be tight later into the run, so I just saved my right side tires just, for the long run, and it paid off there, and I managed to get the lead there before that final caution.
Yeah, so then you got the lead there right at the tail end of that one, and then talk to us in that closing battle. I mean, you and Zach DeWale had an absolute war in the closing laps there, both before that final caution and after it. What was it like battling the 519 tonight?
It was a lot of fun. It was clean. It was, hard racing. We didn't really make any contact. We raced each other very hard, and the best driver came on top. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, especially the final, like I said, 7-8 laps that we had there. And I knew having clean air was going to be a huge advantage because, if you get behind somebody, it was just going to be plowing tight on edges. So I'm just happy I had the lead coming up pit road.
And that seemed to be the difference here tonight. It got you the edge you needed. Daniel, congrats on the win. Congrats on win number 2 on the year. Anyone you'd like to shout out here tonight?
I got to give a major shout out to all the Ball State and Vortex boys for, practicing throughout the week and preparing for this race. And I have to give a major shout out to all the sponsors you see in the car. So LL, Pepsi, Ryko, and all those boys. And I have to give a major shout out to CIO for providing us with a great series to listen. And last but not least, I gotta shout out my parents for supporting me on this journey.
All right, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us up here in the booth. Congrats on the win. A great start to the season over the past couple races here. Obviously, I don't have the points in front of me, but I got to imagine you're going to be right up in the mix to be the points leader after this one if you aren't already. So congrats, and excited to see what you do next week at Homestead.
Thank you guys. Hope to see you guys next week.
Alrighty. Hope to see you as well. And that was number 30, Daniel Nanny from Ball State University, picking up a massive win here tonight. Number 2 on the season. Number 2 in 2 weeks. And now Brad is going to jump trackside with our runner-up finisher, Zach DeWale.
We are down here with Zach DeWale. DeWale, you have a copy?
I hear you, bud.
Alrighty, well, second time you're in the booth in 2 weeks. I think that's a good track record to have, especially with how the point systems have been revamped this season. How are you feeling right now after all of everything that happened tonight?
Honestly, I'm a little bummed. I think I could have had Nanny, who's so close for a win. It's been a long time, but man, it was a lot of fun. I feel pretty good now. I know the points situation was already pretty good coming into tonight, so this is just a really good result for me. I'm really happy. I had a lot of fun.
And, really throughout the entire first half of the race, we saw you mingling out with a lot of guys. But really, once the restart with Stockner happened, you two pulled out to a decent lead. And then, throughout that entire time, you kept up the momentum and you were always within a podium position, it seemed like. Tell me your thoughts through that entire time, especially with the last caution and, the tire call.
Yeah, I mean, Nick was ripping. Nick took 2. I think it was that second to last restart. Excuse me. He took 2, and dude was just gone. He was ripping. So I just tried to make some quick moves to try and stick with him because I knew him being on 2 tires. I took 4 that time. Eventually they'd fade out, and they weren't fading out fast enough. So I had to start pushing. Kind of killed my tires. So by the time that yellow came around, I knew I needed to take 2 just to keep track position, and from there it was just push as hard as I could.
And then, I'm someone who likes patterns, especially when it comes to statistics. But last week you had a 3rd place finish. This week you had a 2nd place finish. How are you feeling going into Homestead? That could be maybe a 1st place finish.
I feel great. Honestly, I'm knocking on every piece of wood in this room right now. I feel great. I love Homestead. It's one of my favorite tracks in the service. I feel like I've always ran pretty well there when I don't throw it away. I feel like I've always got pretty good speed there. So I think if I actually practice for once, I can maybe get something done there.
Well, hey, get as much practice in as you can. And then before we see you back in Homestead next week, is there anyone you'd like to shout out tonight?
Absolutely. Yeah. Emily, Riley, Bill, Jordan, everyone at home watching, always show me lots of support, which is really cool. All the boys on OWR, of course, and the beautiful people of CIL. You guys run the broadcast. You do a fantastic job. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. Well, again, congrats again on the 2nd straight podium, and we hope to see you back next week for potentially a 3rd podium in a row at Homestead.
Yeah, let's fingers crossed.
Right. Well, have a great night.
Thanks, man. You too.
We were going to send it back up to the booth with Alex with our 3rd place finisher, Garrett Vighton.
Hey there, Garrett. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
I tell you what, it feels like the secret to the getting you up into the front week after week was just to get rid of the win and you're in playoff format. So far, this
Yeah, really. Either that
talk
or
us a little
somehow
about
end
the
up
night.
sideways on a track.
Oh, that too. That seems to be the recipe for
I've done
success.
that.
the past
I've
couple
done
weeks.
that each race. I was sideways on pit exit in Charlotte. I was turned around last week and turned around this week.
Well, it still seems like at the end of the day, you got the better end of the deal. Talk to us about that last restart. I mean, you restart 8th and just blitz by most of the contenders. And the rate you were going, if you had like a lap or 2, you might have been able to steal the win there.
Yeah, I was talking with Kaylor about that and Zach. I told them what I was doing, and they were amazed that I was able to pull that off. I was basically in the throttle almost the entire turn. I kind of figured, we'll grip it and rip it, balls to the wall. Either we're gonna that who's the one ARCA driver who said
Oh,
we're either
Jankowiak, Andy
yeah
Jankowiak. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Either we're not lifting until we see the stripes are gone or whatever it
Yeah.
was. The checkers are gone. Yeah, thank you, Christian. Yeah, I was just like, you know what? I got nothing to lose. Kaylor was saying, he was like, I saw you ripping that, and I wasn't even gonna bother defending it. But no, P3's good. Started off good. We were up front all race. That before that last incident, I was hoping it would go green. I felt like I had better tires and was able to kind of do something with the car that no one else was able to do or wanted to do. I've done some races, around here before where I know that line works if you get it right up next to the wall and are able to arc it down. And so come away with P3, fastest lap as well is nice for the bonus point. So yeah, no, I mean overall good race, can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, P3, another opportunity to be on the podium here in 2 and 3 weeks, and it's going to keep you right in the title hunt here through the opening couple of weeks. Is this how you foresaw the start of this season going, or is this more of a dream start to the year?
A dream start. I expected myself to be junked in 3 races. That's how I if you think it's gonna go bad and then you end up doing really good, then that helps your self-esteem a little bit, right?
Yeah, no, I get that.
No, I mean, all the tracks are tracks that we've run so far. I've run a lot. New Hampshire, out of the 3, New Hampshire is my worst. That track, it's tricky, very cookie cutter. Saving tire on 1.5 miles has always kind of been my thing. So, Jake and I, we were hanging out. I wish he would have had a better finish than he did. He accidentally put a full tank of fuel in it on that last pit stop. So, yeah.
I was gonna save that for a post-broadcast thought, but yeah, no, I was wondering what happened there because he was in the mix.
Yeah,
he's
he's not too happy about that, but he got a good load of bonus points, and a decent finish still. So
I still think he finished top 10, all things considered. But
yeah, just about.
obviously, a great run for you tonight, keeping you right in the points hunt. Garrett, anyone you'd like to shout out here this evening?
Jake for we keep each other company. We had a really good strategy, especially in that midpoint, where we're just gonna draft. But yeah, Jake for sure. My girlfriend, I'm pretty sure I had my stream working this time for her to actually watch because I fumbled that last week and she was not happy. My girlfriend for watching and supporting as always. So
awesome. Well, Garrett, thank you so much for joining us up here in the booth. It's been a privilege to finally be able to chat with you a couple times more regularly after the first couple
I
of years.
feel like we've talked more in the past 3 weeks than we have in my entirety in the CIL.
That is probably the case, to be entirely honest with you. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. But it's been a pleasure to finally get you up here.
Of course, always.
Thank you so much for dropping by. And hey, at the rate we're going, maybe see you next week.
I'm planning on it.
Alrighty. Well, best of luck next week at Homestead then.
Thank you. Have a good evening, guys.
Alrighty, you too. And that was 3rd place finisher Garrett Biden from Arizona State. 2 podiums in the past 3 races. He's been on a bit of a hot streak to start the season. And it's been a ton of fun to watch him go. So, with that, Brad, any final thoughts? Oh, no, we have the results tonight. We have it backwards. That's right. Let's get to those final results, folks. Thank y'all for hanging around. I'm sure you want to see it. Daniel Nanny, by less than 1/10 of a second, defeats Zach DeWale this evening. Garrett Biden, 3rd, less than 2/10 back. That's how close it was. 0.2 of a second separating the podium tonight. Jared Kaler, 4th place, has become a bit of the running meme lately, and he'll finish 4th place again after having 4 or 5 4th place finishes in a row last season. Ricky Paz, a phenomenal run for the ECU machine. He's going to finish 5th. Clinton Halterman, 6th. Edward Sanchez goes plus 29 on the evening to finish 7th. Phenomenal run for the Brook College car. Lucas Moody, 8th. Jake Hall, a great run tonight, finishing 9th. And Jake Cummings in 10th place for Converse.
In 11th, we have Kelton Quick from Ball State University, and behind him, Connor Sabosian from Kettering. In 13th, we had Drew Williams from Clemson, and behind him, Logan Smith from Auburn University. Ethan Decatur from Valparaiso finishes 15th, and Ben Neller from Ball State finishes in 16th. Reese Bayham from Auburn University finishes 17th, and Jason Wallet from Drexel finishes 18th. Austin DeLong from Penn College of Technology finishes 19th, and Brandon Schoenberger from Wingate finishes in 20th.
21st tonight, Roger Primo from Paul Smith's College, Nick Henley for Ball State in 22nd, Andrew Burrell 23rd, Nick Stockner 24th tonight, a pair of Clemson machines. Followed by a pair of Penn College of Technology cars, Dylan Godinez and Zach Tallman. Carter Capini finishing 27th tonight. Wesley Shaw, who we talked to in the pre-show race, or the pre-race show, will be finishing 28th tonight. Nathaniel Crone 29th for Toledo, and Grant Schuyler 30th for St. Clair College.
Jack Wilson from the University of North Georgia finishes 31st. Michael James from Drexel finishes 32nd. Andrew McManus from the University of Toledo finishes 33rd. Athena Leclerc from St. Clair finishes 34th. Muhammad Ali from Ball State ends up finishing 35th. Keaton Cowlick from St. Clair College finishes 36th. Brock Morris from Kettering finishes 37th. Lee Kane from the University of Southern Mississippi finishes 38th. Cade Corbin from the University of Alabama Huntsville finishes 39th. And rounding out your field is Dwayne Young from Kettering University.
And that is going to round out our field tonight. And I tell you what, Brad, maybe the best race we've had so far this season. I mean, I know Charlotte was a good bit of fun as well, but tonight, start to finish, was just action-packed. There wasn't really a dull moment tonight. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I think we definitely saw what Chicagoland can give us, and I think a lot of people, at least the drivers, were not expecting as much action as there was on the track tonight. So I think it was a big surprise to not only us in the booth and the viewers, but to the drivers as well. And they did a great job putting on a master class of racing, I should say, at some points, with a lot of like 3 wide and 4 wide action. So I think I honestly did not expect Chicagoland to surprise us like this, but if it's, going to surprise us like this, then I'm excited for Homestead.
Yeah, really, this was a ton of fun. Well, folks, that's about going to do it here tonight on our coverage of the CIL from Chicagoland. The Garage Shop College Cup Series going to be concluding our coverage here tonight, but you're not going to want to miss what's coming up next, because next week, Monday, February 10th, the Garage Shop College Cup Series heads to Homestead Miami Speedway. That show going to start at 8:30 p.m. Eastern right here at the Collegiate iRacing League YouTube channel. You're not going to want to miss it. If this is the way Chicagoland raced, much to what Brad was saying, you got to imagine Homestead's going to be an absolute barn burner as well. But if you don't want to wait till all the way next week for the next CIL race, the next broadcast we're going to have on this channel is the College Formula Series, or Formula College Series. I'm backwards for that. Formula College heads to Mid-Ohio this week, February 5th at 9 p.m. That is Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for the Mid-Ohio race. You will be seeing that right here on this channel as well. And there's a couple more races that are happening over the next couple weeks. But those ones are member exclusives. So if you want to race, the Collegiate Sports Car Challenge or the Short Track Showdown, hop on to the Discord. See what we're about here at the CIL. But for everybody here at the Collegiate iRacing League, for producer Christian Hill, co-commentator Brad Daniels, I've been Alex Gagnon saying thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It's been a blast to have you. We will see you next week at Homestead Miami.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.